We'd be able to, we'd have those different individuals come from Canada or from Montana. But we never had anyone come up from down south, but they would come and they would sweat with us, and they would talk about how they would share their stories, you know, and how the air, like, it's kind of like the laws of nature outlive us, you know, outlive these
Like,
physical bodies.
like they're all, like, yeah, nature is always there.
Continuous,
Yeah.
And so when they talk about that continuation, you know, from the first part of the story, you're saying the lady witched the guy,
Yeah.
and it goes all the way through and completes the story.
And at the end, we're hearing the traditional story passed down.
You know, we had some plans with the guy, you know, to carry it on,
Yeah.
carry on the story.
Yeah.
And so the mother of that has the baby talking to Abel, you know, is essentially
The story.
carrying on the story.
Yeah.
And then it goes, like what you were saying, the snake and the eagle is representing that love and hate's the same thing.
Say more about that. What do you mean the same thing?
Well, go ahead. You're saying better because you can tell it from the native part.
You can't have one
Native
without
side.
the other.
Yeah.
With love, you always have hate. You know, because they're not two different feelings; they're the same thing.
Like the yin yang you were talking
Yeah.
about, the
Yeah.
one is
You
defined.
see it in the different cultures but
Yeah.
more so in this language, they talk about, you know, one is over the other, or one is always stronger, or one is always better than the other.
Yeah.
But tomorrow, this one will be stronger. This one will be better, depending on the person that's involved with that story. So I guess it just depends. See, love conquers all, good always wins. No,
Not always.
not always. So in this case, not always.
But you're saying that there is an overall balance, that eventually it balances out, right?
So and how those stories connect from the beginning to the end, how to follow the story all the way through. When you asked, you know, what we thought of that, and I wouldn't say it was a bad thing. That's just the way it is. You know, when the things getting back at him, because you know the mother who was taking advantage of, you know, the smoke, they changed their shape, were taken advantage of. You know,
The
I
two
can't
sisters.
get back at you directly, but I'm gonna get back at your kids or your great grandkids.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so that's the way it goes. And most cultures, males covet their legacy, their legacy. And so I'll get back at you sooner or later.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You know, so that's kind of that balance.
Yeah, that would explain that final story, the traditional story, and how the bear at the end comes and takes care of the grandson who's been neglected or thrown away.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be the connection of the end of the story to the beginning to the story.
And then we have the Abel running at the very end, which connects to the prologue of Abel running. It's like we begin where it ends.
I still cannot get with that ending. Like, is he dying and being reborn?
I was looking at cheating. I didn't even spark notes in. Cheat sheet, no.
What do they say?
I had it all set up on my computer, but it died. But I'm looking it up now on my laptop.
Did you get a chance to read it?
Yes. It's kind just told how, like Haber says, it wasn't, he didn't die. According to whoever the author of
Yeah.
Spark Notes, whoever wrote the review, he didn't die, but it was just a transition into a better life.
Yeah.
It just, the reflection was the death of his grandfather. So that was kind of like the death of that part of his life.
Yes. And that in effect, it's a good ending. He's coming back to his rightful place.
And how
In the-
he says, oh, and when he's running, and he feels no more pain.
Yeah.
It's just that he didn't die because he doesn't feel pain, but it's just that the spirits and the running and just everything as he's running, everything finally became whole, and so it didn't hurt anymore.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
kind of what it.
Okay.
That's kind of, I agree with that, because that's where, you know, the whole, when he was laying on the sand and he was suffering in pain from the broken hands.
Mm-hmm.
But he was all, I always make that myself, because, you know, you could suffer just as worse in here.
All in your head or your heart.
Not just physically. You know, even though it says he doesn't smile nothing, you know, he doesn't feel no pain.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't think that he died. I took it that he lived. That he just expelled.
In here it says the prologue is not the actual prologue. It's the prologue to the story, but it's just the beginning of Abel's running. And as he's running, he's like reminiscing, thinking back. And so then it goes through this whole story of everything that has happened. And so, and then at the end, it finally all comes together.
So it's like a circle, like
Yeah.
it's like he could still be running in the story.